Not having her own room, Claire decided to follow Abby into hers. Checking on her friend, Claire saw that Hannah went to where Tommy's room was. Entering into the room, it was apparent how bare bones it was, like how Candace described it. There was only a bed that looked to be slightly wider than a person. Across from it, up against the wall, was a table and chair. Between the bed and the table was enough room for a person wearing gear to effortlessly pass between them to reach the trunk in the corner of the room. Seeing the storage trunk, Claire was surprised by how large it was. It was big enough where a person could cram themselves into it. Though they would be uncomfortable, the possibility still existed. It reached to Abby's hip. Walking over to the storage unit, Abby reached down and tapped the bracelet on her wrist to a crystal on the front. After hearing a slight click, the lid of the trunk was open. Claire grabbed a chair and sat down on it. Candace wasn't exaggerating when she talked about what this room looked like. And Brooke was correct about this room probably useful for just storing the equipment and supplies of the adventurer. She did notice that the chair was surprisingly comfortable, even though it was just wood. Pulling out a pack, Abby said, "It's a pretty good deal for how much it costs a night. When you're taking jobs at this level, you're making several hundred or more guild points a job for each adventurer." Hearing how much an adventurer was making at this location, Claire thought back to how little they made catching horned rabbits. She thought back to the number of adventurers that were gathered in front of portals to low-level areas. It made her think about how different life was between where she currently was and where she was before. Digging around and picking up various items and putting them into a pack, Abby said, "I'm guessing you're thinking of all the adventurers that go into the low-level areas?" "Yeah," Claire answered. Straightening, Abby turned to look at her sister. "Even though we can't die here, where we step out of the portal as good as new, we still had to experience the horrifying moment to get to that point." She was quiet for a moment before sighing. "You have to understand that not everyone can handle that level of trauma on a repeated basis." Pointing to herself, "Even though I'm a high level, I still end up getting eaten or killed quite a number of times." "So, you're saying that other adventurers stay at the low level so they don't have to experience death, despite having already experienced it during the orientation?" Claire asked her sister, looking at the saddened expression Abby was wearing. Slowly nodding, Abby said, "It's not their fault. They probably became adventurers because they knew that, at a bare minimum, they need to do something. Even if they don't ever step out of the underground city, they want to have control over their life. They want to feel as though if the underground city was breached by whatever nightmare comes crashing through the defenses, that they might be able to stay alive even for one more second. This would especially be the case if they have loved ones inside the underground city with them." She brushed aside some hair that fell in front of her face. Claire looked down at the floor as she thought about what Abby was saying. It was strange, thinking of people who were willing to take the first step, but got stuck. Instead of continuing down the path they had chosen, it was about maintaining the bare minimum. "It's why I'm glad you reached out to us about taking on a harder job," Abby said softly. "In the high-level areas far away from this town, there are far scarier things that'll hunt you down. You'll end up missing the things that'll eat you up doing this job." Claire looked up at Abby to see her sister looking directly into her eyes.